पीएच पारेख साहब हैं, उनसे ही सबसे पहले समझना चाहेंगे। आपका अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कानूनों और मानवाधिकार के क्षेत्र में एक लंबा अनुभव रहा है। आपने तमाम तरह के मामले देखे हैं और क्या लगता है आपको कि जब दो राष्ट्र या समुदायों में युद्ध जैसी स्थिति होती है तो उसको रोकने पर कहाँ चूक हो जाती है रोकने में? क्योंकि आज संयुक्त राष्ट्र जैसी अगर संस्था की भी बात करें तो वो भी कहीं ना कहीं असहाय महसूस करते हैं।
देखिए, जब पहले जो युद्ध चलते थे वो अपने डंडा से चलते थे, फिर तलवार से चलते थे, वो सब चीज़ें से चलते थे, तो उसमें बहुत कम लोगों को उसका असर था और उसका सबको नहीं होता। लेकिन धीरे धीरे हम बहुत आगे बढ़ गए। आगे क्या बढ़ गया कि अभी हम एक बटन से सारी दुनिया को ख़त्म कर सकते हैं। दैट इज़ हमारी बहुत ही अच्छा प्रोग्रेस है हमारा है। दैट इज़ व्हाट इज़ सपोज टू बी। तो आज की डेट में जब भी कोई भी इम्पोर्टेंट कंट्रीज वो जब फाइट करेंगे दूसरे इम्पोर्टेंट कंट्रीज के सामने, तो हमारा जो क्या होगा किसी को मालूम नहीं होता है क्या होगा, क्या उसका असर होगा, इसकी क्या आफत होगी। अभी जैसे आपने देखा कि रशिया बहुत ही छोटी सी जगह के सामने उसके सामने tried to attack. Those people were too small and they could not anywhere go near Russia. Now you can do that. Why do you want? Why do you want to attack them? What do you want from him? Now this is the problem. हमको किसी के कुछ चाहिए, मेरे पास पावर है, वो मैं पावर यूज़ करूँगा। तो ये जो अभी चल रहा है कि जिसके पास जो पावर है वो सब कुछ कर सकते हैं। लेकिन फॉर्चुनेटली और अनफॉर्चुनेटली आप यदि बहुत पावरफुल है तो देयर आर अदर भी वेरी पावरफुल लोग भी है, तो एक के साथ झगड़े के साथ दूसरा झगड़ा आएगा। तो अभी वी कैनॉट अफोर्ड टू वॉर, तो वी कैनॉट अफोर्ड टू वॉर, then we need peace. In 1950s and marked the beginning of contribution to the UN peacekeeping, and it was India's mediation role in resolving impasse over prisoners of war in Korea. Now, what is the problem of North Korea and the South Korea? We are seeing, we are knowing into what is happening to both of them. But as I said, it's not possible for any country to fight war today, because if you are fighting, then you are going to help. The 3 international commissions for the supervision and control for Vietnam, Cambodia and Laos were founded by the 1954 Geneva Accords. Indochina and India served as the chair. A total 175 Indian peacekeepers have died so far while serving with the United Nations. India has lost more peacekeepers than any other UN member state. In September 2015, during Leaders Summit in New York on UN peacekeeping, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said, and I quote, "The foundation of the United Nations was laid by the brave soldiers on the battlefields of the Second World War. By 1945, they included 2.5 million men of the Indian Army, the largest volunteer force in the history. India today is the largest contributor of troops to United Nations peacekeeping organizations. More than 2 lakhs Indian troops have served in 49 of the 71 United Nations peacekeeping organizations deployed so far. During the Ukraine-Russia war this year, India took middle pathway by not commenting on either side, but continue to maintain a relatively restrictive stance towards the old friends Russia. The government of India should stop its, P. Chidambaram said that the government of India should stop its verbal balancing act and sternly demand that Russia stop immediately the bombing of key cities in Ukraine." In a recent bilateral SCO summit in Uzbekistan, Prime Minister Modi made headline-making comments on the war in Ukraine, stating, "Now is not an era of war," and expressing disquiet over the prolongation of the conflict. The United Nations and other international bodies should come together to ensure that each nation is accountable for nurturing peace and making world a better peace in love. Now, maintaining democracy is another way that we may bring about world peace. Dictatorship, military regime, totalitarianism is the primary contribution to the violence in the world. Countries are better able to elect leaders who support peace when they have freedom to vote. When all nations are fairly represented in international organizations, we can attain world peace, oppressed, and no nation is left behind. When some nations are not represented, it creates inequality, which may stir violence. By educating their inhabitants on the advantages of living in peace with other countries, nations can raise awareness amongst their populace. Sharing the nation's riches evenly is another way to contribute to world peace. To achieve this, all people should have equal possibilities. By examining the social concerns, social reforms, and research organization is making a beneficial contribution to the creation of a thriving society. Extremely extensive and useful social traditions of India contribute to our nation's unique identity across the world. Therefore, Team Social Reform and Research Organization is working hard to make society aware of social values and obligations, as well as to continue doing the sacred task of raising public awareness. At last, I would like to contribute my words. Every time initiative taken by each one of us will lead to a better, peaceful world where every individual will be getting the fundamental rights, basic human rights, and a life of dignity. Thank you very much.